Every January, David built a mountain in his living room. It wasn't a real mountain, of course. It was a wall of ambition. A giant whiteboard covered in grand goals. Run a marathon. Write a 400-page novel, master Mandarin Chinese. David loved the rush of the big dream. He loved the feeling of telling people he was going to change his entire life. But by the second week of February, the whiteboard was always a graveyard of dry, erase ink. The mountain was too high, the air was too thin, and David was always back on his couch, feeling like a permanent failure. David's problem wasn't a lack of talent or willpower. It was a psychological trap called the grandeur delusion. We are taught that to be successful, we must think big. But for the human brain, big is often synonymous with threatening. One afternoon, David visited his uncle Elias, a man who spent his days in a dusty workshop repairing antique watches. Elias was 80 years old, yet he moved with a calm precision that David envied. "Uncle," David sighed, looking at a disassembled 19th century pocket watch. "How do you have the patience for this? I can't even finish a week of my workout plan without feeling overwhelmed." Elias didn't look up from his magnifying glass. He picked up a gear so tiny it looked like a grain of sand. "David," he said quietly, "this watch doesn't keep time because of one big, powerful spring. It keeps time because hundreds of microscopic teeth catch each other perfectly, second after second. If one tooth is missing, the whole world stops. You are trying to build the whole clock at once. I am just focusing on one tooth." This is the small success strategy that modern science is finally beginning to understand. When you set a grand goal, your brain sees a giant gap between where you are and where you want to be. This gap creates anxiety, and anxiety kills motivation. But when you achieve a micro win, like writing just one sentence or walking for 5 minutes, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. This isn't just a feel-good chemical, it is the fuel of momentum. Elias handed David a tiny screwdriver. "Try to fix just one tooth on this practice gear. Don't worry about the clock, just the tooth." David tried. It took him 10 minutes of intense focus, but when he felt the tiny click of success, something strange happened. He didn't feel exhausted, he felt hungry for the next one. The epiphany is this: grand goals are for ego, but small wins are for transformation. A grand goal is a destination, but a destination doesn't move you. Only the next step moves you. When you focus on a goal that is too small to fail, you bypass the brain's fear center. You stop being a dreamer and start being a builder. David went home and erased his whiteboard. He didn't write "run a marathon." Instead, he wrote, "Put on running shoes and walk to the mailbox." He didn't write a novel. He wrote, "Write 50 words about a man in a watch shop." 6 months later, David hadn't finished a marathon, but he was running 5 miles every morning without thinking about it. He hadn't finished a novel, but he had 60 pages of a story that he actually liked. He had discovered the secret of the watchmaker. A life isn't changed by a single explosion of effort, but by the quiet, relentless accumulation of tiny clicks. If you are feeling stuck today, it's likely because your goals are too big for your current spirit to carry. Put down the mountain. Pick up a single stone. Healing your life isn't about the grand leap you take once a year. It's about the microscopic victory you claim every single morning. Reclaim your control not by conquering the world, but by mastering the next 5 minutes. That is where the magic hides.